Hey Capricorn, welcome to your Villain Era reading, where we'll take a peek at a life experience that changed you and where it's going to lead you in your life. So let's start first by pulling a couple of oracle cards and seeing what energy is surrounding this reading for you. And the first card that we have out for you is Deep Knowing. Let's pull another and see what other energies are surrounding my Capricorn collective. And what we've got for you is Kuan Yin, compassion. Release judgments about yourself and others and focus on the love and light that is within everyone. Okay, so for my Capricorns out there, it feels as though this experience for you has been one of very deep introspection. And it's almost, I'm not going to lie, Capricorn, I feel like you all may have been humbled in some way, shape, or form, whether that's through an experience that you went through personally or viewing someone else. It's almost as though you were seeing things with a different set of eyes. Like there has been this sort of aha moment that has occurred to you, and it's like, oh, damn, I missed the mark on that one, is all I can say. Like there's almost a little bit of a feeling of embarrassment. I don't know if that's too strong a word, but it's almost like something sort of stopped you in your tracks and you're just like, oh, yeah, I called that one all sorts of wrong. And it feels as though this has opened up an opportunity for you to do a little bit of self-exploration about how you view yourself, view other people, and trusting, I think, a little bit more in your intuition to let that sort of guide you. And it feels like you have come to this place of emotional awareness that you may not have had before. So this is interesting, Capricorn. Let's get into some tarot and see what other messages we can pull, get some more clarity on this. So how did you get here? What events or experiences led to this transformation? And we have the 9 of Pentacles. So this is an interesting card that came out because the 9 of Pentacles is about sort of material contentment, right? And it can be contentment to the point almost of being smug. It's, where a person has built a lot for themselves, especially in sort of the tangibles and financial and material goods. And so it's kind of like you're sitting there like, yeah, I got that. I got this. Yep, that's all mine. And we have the 9 of Cups. So it feels as though there was a sense of bliss. There was a sense of contentment. It's almost a feeling of if someone hits the lottery, right? And they hit it pretty big. And then all of a sudden they don't know people and it's like, oh, I'm too good for you. And it's like, oh, I'm not going there. I could not go there. Like that's below my, my financial range. And, it feels as though there's a sense of accomplishment. But instead of just sort of being proud and patting yourself on the back, like, yeah, I did a really good job. It's like, I did a good job and you suck and you suck and you suck. That's kind of what it feels like, Capricorn. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. But that's just the energy that's coming through. And I kind of laugh because it doesn't feel like it's intended to be mean. It's just, you may be feeling yourself a little bit right now. And that's okay. So how has this moment sort of impacted you and your life and your relationships? We have the 6 of Wands. So this is a card of victory, but even more than that, Capricorn, it's really a sense of accolades and recognition from other people. And so I feel like once you sort of hit this prosperous moment, you were maybe looking for people around you to be like, yeah, you did good. You the man, you the girl, whatever the case may be. Like you were waiting for your audience to sort of applaud you. And it's like, clap for me, peasants. And we have that clarified by the 9 of Swords. Well, it's interesting because we have two sort of, I don't want to say that they're opposing energies, but It's like this Six of Wands, you're, looking for this victory, this recognition, this adoration. But with the Nine of Swords, this is about anxiety. It's about sleepless nights. It's about being worried and being restless. And so it feels as though, while you may have been looking for this, appreciation from other people, there's also this sort of sense of worry, like, well, what are they going to think of me? What are, are they, it's like you want the attention, but then you kind of worry about the attention that's being given to you. So it feels like there's a lot more stress associated with this than it is pure joy. So what lesson were you meant to learn from this experience? We have the Ace of Cups. So cups are really about emotions, right? They're about feelings. And the ace is sort of beginning of that. It's new opportunity. And so it feels as though this lesson that you're meant to learn with the Ace of Cups is one of, trying to figure out how you sort of maintain yourself in this new environment, right? You have all of this abundance, you've had this good fortune, like you're in a good place. It's probably a good time for you to think about how it is that you engage with other people. Now, it may have to be a little bit different, right? But I think that for my Capricorn, some of y'all may have gotten a little bit cocky out here. And we have that clarified by the High Priestess in reverse, and we also have the Seven of Swords. And so what this feels like is that this energy that you have, I don't necessarily know that it's authentically you, Capricorn, because the High Priestess is the card of knowing, right? And interestingly enough, we have deep knowing as one of the energies that's surrounding this reading. So I think that as you were moving in this space, it didn't necessarily feel quite right to you. It felt not genuine. It felt, I think, a little bit uncomfortable. If it had felt okay, you wouldn't have been experiencing this Nine of Swords. You wouldn't have had this anxiety. You wouldn't have had this worry. You wouldn't have had this restlessness. And so I think that when it comes to the lesson that you're supposed to get from this, it's don't go against what you know is right and what you feel is right. Because we have the Seven of Swords. This is a very sort of creepy energy. It can be about being strategic, but it's also about people getting away with things, people acting disingenuous. And so I feel like with this and the Ace of Cups combined, this is you really rethinking how you approach other people in the context of the success that you have gotten in your life. Now, how can you adjust? It's never too late to course correct until you stop breathing. And if you're watching this, you're not there yet. We have the Ace of Pentacles. So this has come up in a couple of the readings that I've done so far, but this is really building that stable foundation. I think what you had here, especially when it came to your emotions, is very shaky, right? And the prosperity, the abundance that you have could also be very fleeting if you're not smart about it. And so I think that sort of changing the way that you may have been operating is really starting with you getting your feet under you and thinking about this rationally, right? Staying grounded. And so this is building a new, very grounded foundation for yourself to be able to move forward. And we have that clarified by the Two of Swords. This is going to be a conscious decision that you have to make. The Two of Swords is someone who has their blindfold on willfully, I will say. This is not someone who has to stay where they are. It actually reminds me very much of the Eight of Swords, except you're holding the swords in your hands. You're at a crossroads, and maybe you're not seeing things particularly clearly right now, but you know what? If you put down the swords and you take off your blindfold, you can see everything 2020. And so I think that, again, the lesson that you're getting out of this is seeing things for what they are, understanding that you were very fortunate in what you've been able to accomplish. And that's not something that you should be ashamed of. It is something that you should be proud of, but it's also something that you shouldn't take for granted. And I think that it may have gotten to your head a little bit. And so now it's time for you to come back down to earth, get your feet under you, and start acting like you got some sense. So obstacles and challenges in this process, we have the 5 of Cups and we also have the 4 of Swords. And so I think that especially with the 5 of Cups, right? This is about crying over spilled milk. This is, sort of looking back and having regrets. And the 4 of Swords is, going into that place of introspection. And so I think that it may be a little bit of a challenge because it feels like you're riding pretty high right now, Capricorns, to, sort of take a step back and make sure that you are not going to regret how you've acted, particularly when it comes to how you act and how you engage with other people around you, given the success that you've accomplished. It almost feels as though, when people sort of, want the best for you, they want to remain in your life, and you're kind of looking at them like, I don't know if I need you now. And they're like, but we've always been here. What's going on? And so it feels as though there's a risk that, you're going to keep sort of showing out a little bit, and you're going to look back and realize that you may have lost some really good people from your corner. And this is not comfortable for you, right? You feel like something's off, and it is. Now, what's the potential outcome for you? And how is it going to impact you and other people around you? We have the Wheel of Fortune. So things are going to constantly be moving, right? Things are going to be shifting. It's going to be some adjustment periods, but we have the Page of Cups here. And so this is, I think, for you, making those necessary changes and sort of relearning how to interact with people. I feel, Capricorn, that for quite a few of you out there, that there are going to have to be some apologies that are going to need to be made. And I think that there's an element of rebuilding with people who you deep down care about and who deep down care about you as well. So making sure that you, I think, humble yourself a little bit and say, you know what, I was feeling myself a little bit. That's my bad. I'm good now. Like I'm grounded. Like I know who's for me and who's not for me. And so I think that my Capricorns out there, just take a little bit of a step back. And I think that once you return to self after this high from success has worn off a little bit, you're going to find yourself surrounded by people that you care about, but you are going to have to do a little bit of a mea culpa to make things right. So that's what I got for you guys. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.